I'm Ryan Peters and this is Cooking with Coyote, and today we're making Detroit style pizza in the Coyote Pizza Oven. All right, now for the pizza dough, it's very simple. It's only just a few ingredients. We're starting here with a 00, very high protein flour. We've got that laid out here, Cooking with Coyote, of course. And then we've got some malt powder. This is gonna add a little bit of great color and texture to the dough, give it a little bit better crunch. So we're gonna add a little bit of malt powder, some salt, of course, some olive oil, some cold water, and then the magic ingredient, we have some yeast here that we have just blooming in some warm water. And that's what's gonna give the pizza the perfect rise. To get started, I've got my flour laid out here. Again, this is a high protein flour. That's really what you want for any pizza dough. We're gonna get the malt mixed in here, and then we're gonna go ahead. And again, this was instant dry active yeast that we've just bloomed in some warm water to activate it. It's really dissolved in there. We'll go ahead and pour that in here, and we'll start bringing this together. You can already smell the yeast. It smells fantastic. It's one of my favorite smells in the kitchen. And just like any dough, we'll start bringing the flour in together with that yeast water to start forming a dough. Now, just a tip too, with any pizza dough, best results, you don't want to eat the pizza dough the same day. You want to let it go for about 24, 48 hours is best to really just ferment and develop those flavors. So we've got a batch of dough that I made yesterday that we'll use here today for this batch, but just to kind of give you the rundown on how to make pizza dough. So you see here, we've got kind of this thick, goopy paste. It may not look great, but that's exactly what we're looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and start adding this cold water. And eventually here, I'm just gonna ditch the fork and just start using my hands. You kind of gotta get messy with pizza dough making. If you come in here, you can kind of see we're kind of getting a little bit thicker here. And that kind of tells you when you want to add more water. You know, just kind of, you got to talk to the dough a little bit, all right? The dough is going to tell you when it wants some more water. We're going to go ahead here and add our salt in. Just like any food we make, we want to season it. Now you see we're kind of getting close here. We're kind of getting to the edges of the flour. We've almost incorporated all of it into the dough here. We'll start bringing in all that flour. I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle in about maybe half of my olive oil. And the olive oil just really kind of is the finishing touch on making the pizza dough that restaurant quality that we're looking for at home. We'll go ahead in with the rest of the olive oil. And it really starts coming together just like that. I mean, this was just merely minutes ago, we had a giant pile of flour and some raw ingredients, and it really just takes a couple minutes and a little bit of elbow grease, and you've got pizza dough. So we'll go ahead and start kneading this. And what kneading it's gonna do is develop that gluten that we're looking for to give the pizza dough structure and develop a really nice crust. All right, so we've been kneading the ball of dough here for about 5 or 6 minutes or so. We've got a nice smooth ball of dough. It's got some structure. It stretches really well. So we're gonna go ahead and get it into our proofing box here. If you don't have one of these at home, you can just use a Tupperware container or really anything that has a nice airtight seal. And we'll let this go at minimum 12 hours in the fridge, but up to 24 to 48 hours. But now it's time to get back outside and go make some pizza sauce. All right, now we're on to making my go-to pizza sauce recipe. It's very easy. You don't cook it. It's just a couple ingredients. We start with some crushed canned tomatoes, a little bit of chili flake for a little bit of spice, some dried oregano, some dried basil, some granulated garlic powder, a little bit of salt, of course, and then my secret ingredient for this that I think takes it over the top is I have some garlic here that I cone feed in olive oil, and I'll use a little bit of that olive oil just to take it to the next level. All right, now to the crushed tomatoes. We'll start with a nice generous bit of salt. We've got some dried basil, some dried oregano, a little bit of chili flake, as much as you like. I like a little spicy though. And then some garlic powder. And then, like I said, my secret ingredient, a little bit of this confit garlic oil. And then that is literally it. We just mix this up, put it to the side, and the only time it ever sees heat is I'll heat it up right before the pizzas are ready to put on top. But beyond that, you do not have to cook this sauce. All right, let's give it a little taste here, see how we did. I mean, I'm not saying I nailed that, but I think I nailed it. First try. All right, so our dough has been resting in the fridge for about 24 hours. This is what we're looking for. You see how much it's expanded? I mean, this dough is alive right now. It looks so good. It smells yeasty, it smells alive. So this is perfect. So we're gonna go ahead, get this portioned out and weighed out to fit into our pans, and we'll be good to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We've got our dough here. I think we're gonna do like maybe 450 gram dough balls. 450 to 500 I think will be perfect. So there's one. And depending on the pizza that you're making, you can make it however big you want. Like I said though, today we're making Detroit style. All right, so we've got our dough portion here. I'm gonna use a little bit of this garlic oil. You can use olive oil, but we've got the garlic oil. So we'll just add some more flavor. This will just help so nothing sticks in here. All right, then we'll take our pizza dough here and just go ahead and stretch it into the pan. And then we'll let it rest for about 5 minutes or so before we launch it in the oven to Parbake. All right, so our dough is fully rested, it's proofed, it's ready to go into the oven. So we're gonna Parbake these for about 10 minutes or so. And one of the things I really love about the Coyote Pizza Oven, I've used other pizza ovens in the past, and what sets this apart is being able to really control the temperature. You can hone it down super, super low. So right now we're at about 350, 375 degrees, but then we can also crank it all the way up to 900 degrees and just really control that heat. It makes for great pizzas, or really whatever you're cooking in this thing. So we're gonna go ahead, get these pizzas in there, and Parbake these for about 10 minutes. All right, let's check on these bad boys. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So that's about 10 minutes in there, Parbaked, and they'll be ready to go with their toppings. But we do have one little added step that we have to do right now. So let's get into that. All right, so one of the things that makes Detroit style pizza so special and honestly just so delicious is the edges get super, super crispy and cheesy. And the way that we're gonna do that is line the edges with some freshly grated cheddar cheese. It's just going to crisp up on the edges, almost caramelize, and just add another layer of flavor. So we'll go ahead and just line the edges with some of this shredded cheddar. And when we refire this in the oven, that's gonna crisp up and caramelize and be so delicious. So fun fact, what we just built here around the edges is what we call frico. It's gonna, I don't know what frico translates to, but that's frico right there. Like I said, that's going to caramelize up, get super, super crispy, and give that iconic Detroit style crispy, crispy edge. All right, so it is time to assemble all the toppings for our Detroit style Veggie Supreme Pizza. This is one of my favorites to make. Again, just a couple ingredients. I've got a red onion here, some baby portobello mushrooms, some cherry tomatoes, some baby bell peppers, and some Kalamata olives. It's just the perfect combinations of flavors for a pizza. It's my favorite. So let's get these prepped up here. I'm gonna start with the onion. We'll go ahead and get this chopped up. And one of the things I really like about just making pizzas in general is the way that you can work with the toppings and really make it your own. That it's really fun. So we'll get this sliced into just very thin slices. All right, the mushrooms here, they're already washed and sliced. Get a couple of them on there. Again, the best thing with whether you're doing pizzas or any type of cooking, is just having your mise en place, everything ready to go. So I kind of get these little trays here and build up all my toppings so that when I have the pizza dough out here and ready to go, there's no thinking about it. I can just, you know, go through my motions very, very easy. So we have our onions, we have our mushrooms, onto the tomatoes. We'll just go ahead and slice these in half. These tomatoes are my favorite on pizza. They just kind of burst with flavor. All right, now for the peppers, you can use regular bell peppers. I love these little baby ones. I think they're a little bit sweeter and just really are so good. So we're gonna cut these in just to some thick rings. Again, you can cut them however you want. You can cut them into strips, you can cut them into diamonds, you can cut them into anything you want. This is your pizza, but this one is specifically my pizza. So I'm gonna cut them into thick rings here. All right, and then the last ingredient for the Veggie Supreme is just some of these Kalamata olives. I love olives on pizza. You can use black olives, but I think the Kalamatas just give a little bit of a deeper flavor. They're really, really good. So, all right, it is time to assemble our Veggie Lovers Detroit style pizza. We've got the Parbaking shell here. We're gonna start with our base cheese. This is a blend of shredded mozzarella and shredded provolone. Now, onto the topping. So we're gonna start with some of our red onions here. We'll do some mushrooms, some of these tomatoes. All right, we'll go with some of these olives, my favorite. And then these bell peppers. And just look at the colors on this pizza. Like I just love the taste of Veggie Supreme pizzas, but the colors alone, even if you don't eat your veggies like you should, like your mother tells you should, you're gonna wanna eat this just based on how it looks. All right, that pizza is ready to go in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and turn the flame up just a little bit, get it up to around, I'd say 550-ish, 550 to 600 degrees, and bake it off for another, 8 to 10 minutes. It'll be good to go. All right, pizza's ready to go in the oven. I just turned it up. We're at about 500 degrees right now, which is perfect for this style of pizza. We're gonna launch it here. We'll push it to the back. We don't wanna get too close to the flame, but close enough to really get this pizza cooking, and we'll see you in about 8 minutes or so. All right, it is time to assemble all the ingredients for one of my favorite pizzas. It's a Detroit style pizza, and our toppings we're using, it's the perfect combination. So we have some pepperoni here, some burrata cheese, a little bit of basil pesto, some Parmigiano Reggiano, 24-month age, the good stuff, and then a little bit of hot honey. It is one of my favorite combinations for pizza. You guys are gonna love this one. We're gonna start here with a nice little layer of blended mozzarella and provolone. And then all we're putting on this pizza right now is some of this pepperoni. All the other toppings will come after it comes out of the oven. Just kind of go crazy with the pepperoni. Who doesn't love pepperoni? It's gonna cup up a little bit. And that is it right there. That'll be the base for this pizza. Like I said, we'll finish it off with the other toppings when it comes out of the oven, but we'll get this into the 500-degree Coyote pizza oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll see where it's at. All right, let's take a look at these pizzas here, see how we're doing. And one of the things I really love about this oven too is obviously using gas comes up to temperature super fast, but if you also want that authentic wood fire taste, you can throw some wood in here and do it that way. Just really whatever your preference is, but let's also take a look at these pizzas right now. We're almost done, but these are looking so fantastic. All right, a couple more minutes and these will be good to go. All right, we're looking good here. Look at these pepperonis too. They cup up, they char, they fill with little pockets of grease. I mean, that's just everything you want in a pizza. Check on our Veggie Supreme. That's looking money. The veggies are caramelizing. We'll let these rest for a minute before we pop them out of the pan and cut them, top them with the rest of our toppings, and then it's time for the final taste test. All right, so we'll go ahead here with a spatula and just kind of loosen up the sides so that we can pop it out. I wish you could smell this. Hopefully one day we get to a point in technology where you can smell through the screen, because the smells coming off of this. It's the one thing too I'll say, since I've had my Coyote pizza oven, the amount of times that my neighbors smell me making pizzas and just want to invite themselves over for a pizza party it's fantastic. It's fantastic for them, and it's good for me too, because I can just make more pizzas. All right, we're gonna pop this pepperoni pizza out. I mean, look at that. Look at the edges. We're gonna place it here just to rest for another second before we top it off with the burrata, with the hot honey. I just wanna get into it right now. Like, look at this. If the camera can see, hopefully, like, look at this little pool of grease right here. Like, that is just, I want that slice right there. This looks really good. All right, the Veggie Supreme, I mean, whew. This thing is a whole meal in itself. You got all those wonderful veggies. You got a little crust, a little caramelization to them, but they're still just, give that a second. Time to top and finish off this pepperoni pizza. So we start here with this just beautiful ball of burrata. I mean, this is, whew, come on. I'm gonna cut this into 6 slices, so I'll get a little bit on each slice. But I mean, I like putting cheese on sometimes, whether it be burrata, ricotta, after the pizza comes out, just because I like that contrast in temperature, the hot pizza, the cool cheese. A little bit of basil pesto, adds some great color, but it also just adds that punch of basil, which I love in pizza. Then we're gonna hit it with some 24-month aged Parmigiano Reggiano. It really just comes together so fast. And then for the final touch, we're gonna put a little bit of drizzle of hot honey on here. And that right there is everything I want in a pizza. The burrata, the hot honey, the pesto, the pepperoni. This is perfection. All right, let's cut this thing up. And we'll hit each slice with a little bit of that fresh tomato sauce. And that right there is my pepperoni burrata hot honey pesto pizza in the Coyote Pizza Oven. That's a winner right there. All right, now, as much as I love making pizzas, I love eating it more, so let's give this a taste. Wow. Not gonna lie, I did a really good job. That's just everything I want in pizza.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
There you go.
What do you think?
Cheese is awesome.
Crispy, but then light in the center.
Perfectly light.
Good flavors. The hot honey's nice.
You know, deep dish is where it's at, I think.
And that right there is how you make my Detroit style pepperoni hot honey burrata pesto pizza in my Coyote multi-fuel pizza oven. What are you waiting for? All right, time to finish off the veggie. We'll cut it up here. We'll do 6 slices. And then some of that sauce that we made earlier, we heated it up, and we'll just go down with 2 little stripes of sauce on each side. And then you can never have too much cheese, so we're gonna go with some Parmigiano Reggiano and just really take it to the next level. I mean, just look at that pizza. I mean, it's perfectly cooked. It rose so well, great dough, cooked perfectly in that oven. Let's give it a try. Oh man. I mean, I can't do any better than that. That's the best I can do. This was fantastic, all made in my multi-fuel Coyote outdoor pizza oven. You gotta give this a try.